Welcome to the Enduring Talks. On March 19th, presidential elections will be held in Montenegro, the results of which may be of great importance for the country. The Democratic Party of Socialists, which had been in power for 3 decades under the presidency of Milo Djukanovic, became the opposition after a change of power in Montenegro in August 2020. The changes that have taken place since that time have not contributed to the stable development of the country. Montenegro found itself in a deep political and economic crisis. Many key state institutions are paralyzed due to the disagreements both between opposition and authorities, and within the ruling coalition. However, the crucial point is that Montenegro's process towards joining the European Union has halted, despite 75% of its citizens being in favor of membership. Will the presidential election bring a solution to the political crisis? I talked about it with Ljubomir Filipović, political scientist from Montenegro. Mr. Filipović, is there any space for unexpected result regarding the first tour of the elections?
This year, the elections will be not so predictable. The results on elections will be not so predictable as it was in the previous election cycle in 2018, when we had last elections, presidential elections, and when we had a landslide victory in first round by President Djukanovic. This time we are completely walking the uncharted territory, as the president has lost, his party has lost the majority in the parliament. We have 7 presidential candidates. Out of them, 4 are seriously have chances. The 4 of them, according to the polls, have chances to succeed in elections and to win the elections. Some of the predictions are telling us that there are 2 scenarios. One scenario is if Djukanovic for sure is going to the second round, and he will be the front runner because his party is still the largest in Montenegro. But then it depends on who will be the runner-up, who will be the second in the first round. That may decide the outcome of the second round and the whole election process. 3 main challengers to Djukanovic are coming from the pro-Serbian political background. They were coming from this poll that was against Djukanovic in 1997, that was pro-Milosevic, pro-Serbian background. But one of them is a veteran politician, a Serbian nationalist, Andrija Mandić, who's coming from pro-Russian Democratic Front. And if he succeeds in being a runner-up and qualifies for the second round, then it makes Djukanovic's job of winning the election much easier, because most of the people wouldn't vote for an open Serbian nationalist, pro-Russian Serbian nationalist. Even though that Mandić in this election campaign is trying to hide his ideology, his narrative and his messages are not so nationalistic. But I think that people in Montenegro will see through it, and there is no chance that he could win in the second round. But then still, still he's leading the biggest parliamentary group in the new majority in Montenegro. So he has a chance of qualifying for the second round. Again, if he wins, then Djukanovic's victory is highly likely. But Mandić will have a problem of qualifying in second round, because he will be contested by 2 younger candidates coming from the same background, who are not so openly Serbian nationalists, even though they're coming from that background, even though they're openly supporting the Serbian Orthodox Church in Montenegro. They are not so open about their closeness with Serbia. One of them is a young but a long-term politician in Montenegro, a former speaker of the parliament, Aleksa Bečić. And the second one is a new person that was not known to Montenegrin politics until 2 years ago, when he became a minister. It's a young man loyal to the Serbian Orthodox Church, but who worked in the West and was educated in the West, in the UK to be clear, and then he worked for the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, EBRD, as an economist. If they succeed in qualifying to the second round, then we might expect that Djukanovic could lose the second round. And then we will have the president aligned with the new majority in the parliament, and the sovereignist Montenegrin bloc will lose finally all the leverages of power in the country.
What is your assessment of possible changes in the field of foreign policy of Montenegro after the presidential elections?
The competences of the president, according to Montenegrin constitution, are not so big. He has no large competencies. Mostly he's representing the country abroad. He had some power when it comes to nominating ambassadors. He had the final word when it comes to proclaiming the laws, but his constitutional powers were very limited. So we shouldn't expect more some dramatical shifts, even if the pro-Russian, pro-Serbian candidate Andrija Mandić wins, which is highly unlikely. So we wouldn't see huge shift. Where we are endangering our European path and path to European integration is the part where our government is becoming dysfunctional. So our government currently is in technical mandate because they lost the confidence of the parliament last August. So since August, they're in technical mandate, and they're doing everything to postpone the elections. The problem is that we, according not to me, but to many reports from outside of country, from people from abroad and diplomats in our country, is showing that our Montenegro, as the US Deputy Assistant Secretary Gabriel Escobar, he recently said that Montenegro is on the brink of collapse when it comes to government. So this is the situation which can be exploited by foreign third-party agents. And I'm thinking here of Russia and Serbia, mostly, that can exploit the situation in order to create a mayhem in country from which some new power can emerge in the future, parliamentary elections, or it could make these far-right and right-wing Serbian nationalist elements in the government stronger. And then long-term, we can expect not only the shift in the sense when it comes to Ukrainian question and the war in Ukraine and sanctions towards Russia, but we can long-term expect even the bringing into the questions the very independence and the very existence of Montenegro as a sovereign country.
Should we anticipate snap parliamentary elections as a solution to the political crisis?
This is a great question, and according to what they're saying up until now, all of the candidates and all of their parties, all of these candidates that are currently top-tier candidates for the function of presidents, their parties are calling for the snap elections. So Djukanovic, even Andrija Mandić, Milatovic, most probably because his party is out of the parliament. His party is still not in the parliament, even though they had a successful local elections, the capital of Podgorica, which is home to 1/3 of Montenegrin population. They won 20% of the vote. So they were very interested in having a snap parliamentary elections in order to capitalize their popularity, current popularity. So we might have elections, but still it doesn't depend on the president as much as it depends on the current composition of the Montenegrin parliament. And that's why Andrija Mandić and his Democratic Front they're playing a huge role. There is another very interesting moment here is that Andrija Mandić and his political party are under direct influence from the Serbian president. So whatever they decide, it will not be their decision. It will be a decision of the Serbian government, whether to have snap elections in Montenegro or to reconstruct or refurbish the current Abazovic's cabinet.
To what extent does Russia shape the political agenda in Montenegro, particularly on the eve of presidential elections?
We are under a huge influence coming from Russia when it comes to media, when it comes to social networks manipulation techniques, etc. But this election campaign was very unusual because the elections were called a bit too late. So we had only less than 1 month for the campaign. So up until now, I haven't seen that the Ukrainian war was a topic in the focus of this campaign, unfortunately. What is interesting in Montenegro is that Russia they realized that their direct meddling couldn't affect too much Montenegrin politics because not many people appeal to what Russia is currently doing to Ukraine, and that's a marginal percentage of people in Montenegro. But they're using Serbia as a vessel and Serbian influence as a vessel, Serbian nationalist vessel as a vessel in Montenegro to spread their influence to Serbian Orthodox Church and etc. So we could expect more of the hybrid threats, Russia and Serbia showing muscles in the second part after the first round of elections.
Subscribe here to receive more videos from the new Geopolitics Research Network.